Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode of Mission Snapshot. We're so glad that you have joined us again today, and we have an exciting story to share with you. But before we get to that, I want to let you know that Hannah is managing our social media, and she will be putting links down below. So if you have questions or comments, please add them down below and she'll take care of you. And please also watch the comments so that you can see the links that she is posting there. So today on Mission Snapshot, we have Veronica. We're glad that she's back. And you have a fun story today that's with an evening school.
Yes, I do. So we're going to be talking about an evening school in a village in Amaravadi. And this little village kind of backs up into a mountain. And it's very small. They don't have a lot going on there. So as you can see from the slide, it's really, they don't have a lot of structure.
Right.
Their huts are just from whatever they can find to put them together. They have really just like two sources of income, where the women of the village will go up into the mountain, collect firewood to sell. And then the men also are goat herders. They try and raise goats and use that as part of their income.
So the picture that you're seeing is entering into the village here. And then this photo is what you get when you come in from the road, the village. And so tell us about this hut.
So this hut is actually one of, I can't remember how to pronounce her name.
Pariamal. I think it's Parniamal.
Parniamal. So she is one of the oldest members of the village, and her husband actually live in this hut, and they've been in this one-room hut for 25 years.
And so this is a picture of what it looks like inside.
Yeah, so it's a very small, we'd say one room, but it's less than what we consider one room. I mean, this is very small, but that's what they've lived in for a very long time. And so that's kind of a typical, what you would expect in these huts. And of course, larger families might have something a little bigger, but not much. I mean, this is kind of what you're going to see.
So what you're seeing in this picture is actually the mat or the towel or the rug that's down is their living room, sleeping room. The pots are their kitchen, and then the back is storage, and that's it.
Yeah.
And she has lived there for 25 years. Probably 26 years now.
26, yeah. These first pictures are what we went on a mission trip there in 2019, and so some of these pictures are from then.
That, yeah.
And so it just kind of shows you their living conditions and what they're up against as far as that goes.
Right.
And so this next slide is showing you a little bit more of the village, and the one tin building that you see there, it's like the only actual building in the village, and that is a church that is rented out for the evening school.
Right, so that's where we put the evening school. And so before we get to the evening school, you had mentioned that one of the ways that they make money is by goat herding.
Yes.
So we wanted to share with you a picture of a goat.
And our friend John, who loves goats.
That's right. Everywhere we would go, he would find the baby goats, and so we had to share this one. But go ahead.
Yeah. No, so the building that is there, it is not actually the Adventist church. It is a Sunday church, and we are renting it for the evening school. And like I said, at this point, it's the only actual building in the village. And so it gives it's a little bit difficult because we're renting the facility, and it is a Sunday church. Obviously, in our evening schools, we want to teach people about God and His love and Jesus. They have asked, though, that there's certain truths that we not bring up because it would go, like our religious truths would go against their religious truths. And so we're a little bit limited in what we share or how we share it, but we're still doing everything we can to share the love of Jesus with the village and with the children. So we just have to, maybe do it a little differently than we do in some of our other evening schools.
Right. So I just want to point out for our viewers that even though this is a First Day Christian church, the village is mostly Hindu.
Yes.
It's predominantly Hindu.
Yes.
And so it's not as though we're going into a village and trying to turn all the First Day people into, Seventh Day people. It's like they're mostly Hindu. And so we're coming in also to help with this. And I did want to mention, and I forgot to do that if Hannah hasn't done it already, she's going to drop a link to a Jesus for Asia Now show on Amaravadi so that you can get more details about the village that we can't cover here today, but it's a fascinating story. So I encourage you to go ahead and watch that. And so we have this young lady on the screen, and tell us about her.
So when we first went in last year in 2019, there was a lot going on in the village. They, again, like I said before, it's a very poor village. They don't have a lot, I guess you could say, to hope for as far as, when the kids grow up, what are they going to do, where they're going to go. So this girl kind of represents the young girls of that village. Pretty much by the time they're 13, they're married. They're expected to get married. And so they can only go through school up to 5th grade, into the traditional schools up to 5th grade, and then their life is then to get married and have kids, and that's it. And they're very shy, or they were very shy and weary of any visitors coming into the village. They didn't really know what to do with visitors. They hadn't seen any, really anybody else. And so just everything going on in the village was, it was just sad. There was, there wasn't a lot of hope or things to look forward to.
Right.
Your life was pretty set.
Yeah. So the evening school came in and began to show them a different way of life and to help, because before the evening school was there, children were dying of malnutrition.
Yeah.
And so...
one of the biggest issues, as in many villages, was malnutrition, because they only have those small ways to make income with firewood and goats, which, is going to give them a little bit, but not much. And so when we first went in, you had a lot of kids dying, not making it very far because of malnutrition. So, of course, one of the things that we do with evening schools is provide a meal for the children. We think that that's very important. And one of the best ways to reach out to them and help them. And so with that, since we've been providing that in the evening school, we've actually cut the mortality rate of the kids in half.
Wow.
In the village. And so that's been a wonderful way to help them and to show them that there's hope and there's ways to change.
Right. So when the mission team went there earlier this year in 2020, we saw changes in the village. So can you talk a little bit about the changes?
It's very exciting, because in just a year of the evening school being there, or I guess it's been 2 years, almost 2 years, that the evening school's been running. And so some of the changes they've seen, other than just, kids living longer, which is wonderful, but also they're more energetic, they're happy, they're eager to meet new people.
Right.
A lot of them were just so shy, did not want to, even see you. Like, what are you doing here? And now when we go into the village, they're running, they're jumping for joy. They're so excited that a visitor is there, that they can, talk with some other people. Another issue they were having is that a lot of the kids were not going to school, not just the evening school. They weren't going to their traditional school. And for some reason, even some of the parents didn't want to send their kids to school. So we weren't really sure what the issue was, but they weren't getting any type of education. And now we're seeing a lot more participation in their regular school as well as the evening school.
Right. So the photo that's up right now is that there are 2 girls who have yellow jackets on, and that's a school uniform.
Yes.
So we know that they're going to school, and they look older than 5th grade.
Yeah.
And so
we're also seeing that more families are seeing the benefit to school and keeping their kids not married for longer. So it's not village wide, but it's definitely a small change that some of the girls are not being married off as early as they were. Yeah.
And here's a picture of John with some of the young boys.
Yes.
And they look so much happier, brighter,
Yeah.
and healthier than when we were there a year before.
Yeah. It's a great thing to see the change in their character. You know, that's definitely something we hear a lot from the parents or grandparents,
Right.
is that because of the evening schools, they have seen a huge change in their children's character.
Yeah.
Their happiness, their joy, but also how they behave, just their behavior
and
improves.
obedience too.
Yes.
'Cause we hear that a lot for the evening schools. Now, this little one here, for those of you who are watching who may recognize Carrie Giuliano, one of our missionaries with Jesus for Asia, she's holding a little girl. And the reason we put this in here is because when we were there last year, the little girl was so scared of people that she ran home crying. She just ran away and ran home. But this year, after having been at the school for a year, she ran up to Carrie, and Carrie was able to pick her up. So we had to capture that moment.
That's a big change. Yeah.
It is a very, very, very big change.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you for sharing with us the change just in 1 year with children being happier, healthier, more outgoing, wanting to go to school, and wanting to meet people. And the longer this school is in place, I think there will be more widespread change, like we were hoping for the young girls to be able to finish school without getting married right after fifth grade. So Hannah, if she hasn't already, is going to drop a link down below to the webpage for evening schools, because perhaps you've seen this and you would like to support this school, other evening schools, because they're changing lives.
Yes.
And so that link will be there. And in addition to that, we also have our website, jesusforasia.org. And if you would like to read more about any of the other projects that we have in addition to the evening schools, this is a place for you to go. And you can sign up for our newsletter there if you're not already on our mailing list. And so we want to thank you for joining us today. We thank Veronica for her stories. And we will see you again next Tuesday at 1 p.m. This has been your Mission Snapshot.